All right, another day, another dollar. Fun day at work. Now I have to do this next. Next up, intercooler piping. So I got to take this, put this on the car. Shouldn't take me that long. Was gonna have it powder coated, but decided against it because it kind of rubs in a few spots. It's not perfect. If you can see, they don't look the best. I might actually have some new ones made eventually, but just to get the car done and completed, I'm gonna go ahead and install them on the car. So first things first, I'm gonna go ahead and put on the intercooler piping that goes right here underneath the turbo. So I'm gonna handle that first here, and then next up I'll do the cold side. So I'm gonna handle the hot side first and then do the cold side here. Shouldn't take me but a couple minutes, I hope. Probably help if I took the intake off first. Another thing, guys, I do is before I tighten anything down, I put all the rubber couplers on, make sure the clamps are in place, but I don't tighten anything down because with this, it needs some wiggle room. Everything is not just connected to the, what's the word I'm looking for? Connect the dots. It doesn't snap in place, so there is wiggle room, so you don't want to snap on or go ahead and tighten down the first clamp, because you might need a little extra wiggle room to put on the next pipe. So when you're installing things, I would recommend always putting everything together, leave it loose, maneuver around as you want it, and then tighten everything down. Probably help if I wouldn't forget to put one of the clamps on. Motherfucker, this fucking thing is me off. Mostly on now. Now I just have to clamp everything down and I should be good to go. I fucking hope so. This better be right. I hope I'm not fucking it up again. But last year I put it all on backwards. I said backwards is one like little 90. Fuck it. Anyways, yeah, you guys get the point. God damn it, it's pissing me off with just one little elbow and it just. So, just to give you guys an idea how the pipings ran here, obviously turbo, you have turbo manifold, and the way the runner was ran, the first #1 runner, I had to cut and weld the turbo with this 90-degree elbow just to get it to fit. Now, a lot of people take this and run it up through this hole here. Now, I think that looks ugly and I didn't want that. So, I ran it down underneath so you would hide all the intercooler piping. Now, there's two pipes technically. There's one short piece here that goes to this regular coupler down to a 90-degree coupler. As you can see here, it then runs into this one large pipe that then goes into the intercooler piping. So I had this made by ACP here in Greencastle, PA. He did a pretty good job. It wasn't all that expensive, so it wasn't exactly the best of quality, but it does the job. So that's how it's ran on this side. Now go ahead and put on the other one now. The cold side intercooler piping is on now. It's pretty direct routing. This is actually technically how the stock fitment sets up. So it just shoots straight down, goes down underneath the front bumper here. See where the opening of the headlight here, you can see the rest of the intercooler piping that wraps around. So it starts there, you can see it goes right down underneath this panel, and it comes out underneath the headlight right into the front mount intercooler. So it's a pretty basic setup. Also guys, the intercooler is a basic CX Racing knockoff eBay intercooler. It's a 4-inch, it's nothing special, gets the job done. I could probably go later on to a bigger intercooler, but when I do that, I'm going to do all new intercooler piping, so at this time I'm not going to screw with all that because, well, that costs money and I'm tired of spending money on this thing, to be honest. Now that I've got the intercooler piping on, there's a few other things I have to get done. I've made a list of the things I have to do yet. There's not much left to do, but it's just little knickknacks, and I know I'm going to have to add things up. I have to bleed the clutch line yet. I have to go get O-rings for some of the fuel fittings that didn't come with it, or I lost them. One of the two had happened. I need to find something called fuel filter wrap. So the fuel filter sits up against the body, and I was told to help with, I guess, static electricity, all that stuff, to wrap it in some kind of material. I gotta look that up. I'm not even sure what it is, so I'm gonna look for that here. I need to get trans fluid. I need to get a vacuum line to go to the fuel pressure regulator, and also have a hole in the intake manifold where the old fuel pressure, I guess, yeah, the old stock fuel pressure sensor went. So if you guys can see right there, just below the map sensor, there's a little hole right there. I'm not sure what size hole that is. I gotta check the thread pitch here. I might just have to re-tap it, take the intake manifold back off, who knows, and tap it and take care of that. If anyone can tell me what that is, I deeply appreciate it, because I have no fucking clue, and I need to get that done to finish up the car. The thing I might go ahead and do is go ahead and install the headlights. The car is mostly complete at this point, so probably wouldn't hurt to go ahead and install those. I always try to keep to doing that to the very last because I kind of messed up one of them, taking the motor out. Don't really, makes my skin crawl already thinking about it when I go to look at them here because they've been inside the house. I don't even like them sitting out in the garage because they're $1,200, $1,300 right now. God knows what they're going to cost when they go, well, discontinued. So I'm gonna go put them in, and maybe I'll show you guys where I cracked them, because it makes my skin crawl even thinking about it. So let's go grab those real quick. Guys, if you can see, I have the headlights in now. Everything looks great. Put the battery in also, and I got one other surprise for you real quick. And would you just look at it? Yep, I've got power, guys. Just went over most of the car, and look at it. I've got power. Fuck yeah. I'm running LED turn signals and stuff in the car, and they're actually supposed to be 4300K HIDs. They're eBay brand. Don't judge me, guys. So they're not exactly the highest quality, and they're not exactly perfectly clear. There is like a bluish purplish tint to them, but they look nice. I also have LEDs in the back of the car, but they're not as quite as predominant. Now I guess you can see it has a bluish tint to it also. This taillights and everything are just stock bulbs. They just look really bright, thankfully. Well, I'm not sure if you guys can see or not, but there is this weird cracking. I actually slid the transmission accidentally over the headlight. Everything had perfect amount of room, nothing was issue. I just let it slip and it came down and rubbed across it. Now, if you can see it there, it's not pretty. There's no buffing that out. It's in the headlight. It didn't go the whole way through. You can feel it, but it's enough to piss you off, especially for as much as these headlight cost. And on top of it, when I got the other headlight a couple years ago, I had this nice little crack show up one day. That was caused from I was going to Ocean City, Maryland. If any of you guys know where that's at. This was caused by a rock that came up from I think it was a Dodge Challenger in front of me, came up, hit the headlight, and caused it to crack there. So wasn't too happy about that either, considering how much these headlights cost. So now that I have all the wiring done for the body wise, I have the headlights in, batteries in. I'm gonna go pick up the valve covers hopefully tomorrow. I gotta give Joel a call, Piranha Fabrication, and go pick those up. And then I'm still just once again waiting on the harness. I keep changing things with the harness, so that's part of the problem there. I'm now having the whole harness covered in Raychem. If you're not sure what Raychem is a type of heat wrapping for a harness. They protects it from any type of heat or damage getting to it. It's pretty much overkill for what my build is. Just so you guys know, material alone, it's like $500, and this is just the covering for it. My last harness total for everything was at $900, just to put it in perspective. This is just the cover. So it's a pricey ticket, but in my eyes, it's definitely worth it, as it looks a lot better when it's all said and done, and it looks a lot more professional. Unlike my little doohickey here, look at that shit. That's how I have the sensor hooked up for the AC. What kind of ghetto fabulous bullshit is that? Okay, so last night you guys saw I got ahead and buttoned up most of the stuff, and I went ahead and did all electrical, lights are on, all that good stuff. Now today I want to do fluid, so I need to go get oil, which I use Brad Penn Oil 10W30, which is, well, let me show you. Penn 10W30, it has extra zinc in it. I'm not sure if this is even street legal, to be honest, but I know it works well and it'll make sure the engine lasts a little bit longer. It's a little pricey, but definitely worth it. I believe it's actually made right here. Yeah, Bradford, Pennsylvania. So it's a local oil company too, so it's kind of neat that it's so close by. So this is what I use for the car. And then for the transmission, I'm going to use just like generic gear oil, like 75W90. Now the W58's in it for right now just to get started. So just one in it, just to put a little bit there, just to make sure it's safe. I'm still going back and forth on transmissions. I'm just having a really hard time on making a decision. Don't know what to do. I want a V160 deep down inside, but I have a hard time spending $5,000 for a used transmission that might or might not be broken. On top of that, you need a linkage, drive shaft, everything else. Then you need a clutch, flywheel. You're looking at like $10,000, $12,000 for something that just doesn't make much sense to me. It's hard for me to fathom why this is so expensive. It just doesn't make any sense where everything else is much cheaper. I'm really starting to lean towards the T56, and I've already talked about the CED009. None of these options really make me happy. None of these make me go, you know what, I'm going down the right path, and that's what I'm having the hardest time with. I want to make sure I'm making the 100% right decision. I feel like the V160 would be it if it was still new. Just a couple years ago, you could buy a brand new from the dealer for $6,100. $1,100 more, and I could have had a brand new V160, clean and clear, and never have to worry about it. Now, with a used one, if I want to have it rebuilt, most of the ones in the US are the older style, which means if I go to have a bad gear in it, I have to replace all the guts with all the updated internals, which one are discontinued, or I have to buy the aftermarket ones, and I'm looking at like $3 to $4 grand just for that. So I'm looking at almost $9,000 just for the trans. That's not counting everything else. So yes, I am having a very hard time deciding on transmission. Maybe you guys can weigh in on this and maybe help me feel a little bit better on which decision I should go to. I will not run an automatic. That's not what I want to do with this car. The whole point of this car is to keep it around 600 wheel horsepower. Even that's a little bit of overkill, and drive it on the back roads and enjoy it around here in small rural Pennsylvania and just have fun with it. I thought about building a full-out drag car with a Turbo 400 one day, but that's another time, and maybe that will come down the road, or maybe I'll build an all-track. I haven't decided yet, but I'll let you guys weigh in on that. Right, so I just got back from Advanced Auto, and luckily for me, they carry my Brad Penn oil I like to use, 10W30. I've got a new heater core hose as the one that actually goes to the back of the engine itself. I had to cut it off because I couldn't get it off. This is the same one I used last time. This is not a stock hose. This is, I believe, to a Subaru Forester, to be exact. The reason I use this is it hides the hose. The stock one goes up and over the valve covers, and it looks ugly. So this actually hides it a little bit better, and it looks prettier in my eyes. I got my gear oil, some clear hose to help bleed the clutch line. I bought 20 feet of it, as I can never find this stuff, so they had it in rolls of 20 feet, so I bought all 20 feet of it to help me out. And then I bought fuel O-rings. I only needed 2, but I bought an extra one just in case I ever need one down the road. I'll have one here at the house. They're cheap, and I always like to stock up on parts just in case, because, well, I'm anal retentive and I hate doing anything incorrect, and I always like having a backup. So now it's time to fill the engine up with oil and do everything else, and I should be good to go. I guess I should have known better. I bought this pump here from Harbor Freight, as last time I actually tried to squeeze the bottles in, which I highly recommend against, because it's a fucking bitch on this car, because the fitting itself is up on the side of the engine, and you're like up there, and just don't fucking try. Just use a pump and save yourself the headache. Or if you're even smarter, get a funnel, start from the top and drain it down in. That works too. It takes a little while, but I prefer using a pump if it fits. So my problem is, the fucking pump doesn't fit. It's supposed to go the whole way down in, but it doesn't. It's too fucking fat. Fuck me. So I need to get, there's a clear hose, okay? This clear hose only goes so far down in. I need a hose that's obviously going to go a little bit longer so I can get all the fluid out of it. Plus I need to use 2 of these, and the shit's not cheap, so even this knockoff shit's not cheap. And it's a double 58, blah blah blah. I want to put enough oil in it to make sure it runs for a while. So fuel fittings now are cranked down. Got the O-rings on, top, bottom, and side here, and yep, should be good to go. So next up is I'm going to put some gear oil in it if I can get it to go in, and then I have to put the heater core hose I have. If you can see here, it goes to the back here, and I just need to put it on. I think stock, these hoses are technically reversed, but the way I have the hoses set up, I have to have them this way. It doesn't matter, guys, just an FYI. It does not matter how you install the hoses. It will not affect anything. It's just a constant pump flow. You can have the hoses face either way. It will not affect anything, just an FYI. So that's how I have the hoses hooked up, and now I need to do the next one. Heater core hoses are now installed, if you guys can see. This is a shorter hose there on the back is now installed. It's not the prettiest, but once the valve covers come on, you can't see any of it anyway, so it doesn't really matter in my eyes. So that's all taken care of now. I'm gonna go pick up the valve covers here tonight, the show plate and the painted fan shroud. Can't wait to see how it looks out. Joel said he says it looks perfect, so I'm pretty excited to see it. He says he's really proud of it, so I'm looking forward to go pick it all up, and the engine should look 100% complete now, besides the wiring harness. So I'm like giddy as a little schoolgirl right now, because the car's gonna be almost done. Hey guys, one last thing for this video, and I'm over. I actually just got all my stuff back from Powder Coat, so I got picked up from Joel here, I don't know, a couple hours ago or so. This isn't actually powder coated, this is the fan shroud itself. I had it painted a nice gloss black. I have to send it back once I got it home. He didn't notice it either, but there's a few random like gray specks in it here, which is really hard to see if you look really closely. I mean, I can't have that. It needs to be perfect. I'm not going to put on the car with that. I paid good money. And he agreed. He's going to redo the whole thing. He's like, he had no idea how that happened, but if you can see here, just like these little random gray specks. They're really hard to capture, but it's totally random. Now for the rest of the powder coat, the panel here came out flawless this time. Looks perfect. Super happy with that. And then the valve covers are awesome. So much better than what they looked like before. I'll try to post a picture if I have any. I'll flash it across the screen here, but this came out fantastic. The overall view of this now looks so fucking nice. I'm so happy with the way all the powder coat turned out. There's still maybe a few things I might do, like the turbo housing, maybe the intercooler piping here, the overflow tank. I'm not sure if I want to do everything. I'm not sure what to do. Plus the intercooler piping might get redone, so I don't want to pay to have something powder coated. Then we're going to go ahead and remove, so I'm waiting on that. That'll be it for this one, guys. Thank you very much as usual. I'm going to continue this build series. I'm getting very close to the end, guys. I'm almost there. Now that everything else is together, all you have to do is bleed the clutch line here, and I'm completely done. Put some oil in it and the harness.
Jose told me that the harness will be here this week, so I'm hoping that it gets here, and as soon as it does, I'll hook everything up, record it, and then I'll set up multiple cameras when I first start it, because it's gonna be a little scary. I'm a little nervous about it, so hopefully by the end of this coming week here, guys, I'll be starting the car for you, and we'll be starting some real progress, maybe do my first drive with it. Then we'll show you a video going dyno tuning. I'm gonna have John Kerr in Carlisle, Pennsylvania to tune the car. He's kind of the known tuner in the area. He does GTRs, rotaries, he does full-on drag cars. Hell, he just did a mudding car. So he does a little bit of everything. So I really trust him, and I think that's what I'm gonna go with here for tuning. And just send him all the information to tune the Infinity. So that's up next. So as usual, guys, thank you very much. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Share this to help someone else out that's looking to build their Supra or looking to learn more about the 2JZ. And I appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much.